Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We're getting right into it. No intro today. No. I mean, let's make sure. Yeah, mic's up. It's comical, right? It is actually comical at this point how bad I run. I am convinced. I am convinced. Convinced. There's not one person that runs worse. Convinced. I literally won a tournament a couple days ago with a massive blowout with a game stack in that game. Even like, just like, again, you could. I see what happens tonight. I'm just like, I can literally only laugh. I can literally only laugh at this point. So, I mean, where do you want to start? You tell me. You tell me where you want to start. I'm making a petition to Draftkings to remove the Toronto Raptors from all future main slates. Toronto Raptors are on a main slate. Get that gif out of the guy shoveling money into the fire, because that's going to be me. I'm laughing, but I'm also going crazy a little bit. Like, I'm actually losing my mind. Scotty Barnes and Gary Trent Jr. 6 of 27 shooting. I'm not kidding when I say Gary Trent is actually shooting like 10% over the last 3 games. Go right back to him, right back to can't hit a shot, and benched. In a fantastic matchup, high usage without Van Fleet. Once again, massive bust, can't hit a shot. Scotty Barnes, the safest of the bunch, been so consistent of late. Go to him. 3 of 15 shooting. I have played Pascal Siakam every single slate this past 2 weeks. Every single time. It's a random blowout. It's random foul trouble, right? Every time. Thinking, all right, you know what? I can't keep losing money with Pascal Siakam, right? I play him every time, and every time it burns me. I gotta fade him now. I have to fade him. The one guy I fade on the Raptors tonight was Pascal Siakam, and sure enough, he absolutely smashes. Just a massive game from Pascal Siakam. 34, 14, and 2. If there's massive foul trouble on the slate, like I said, in my lineup, Mo Bamba, one of the better plays in the slate, massive foul trouble. 2 quick fouls to begin the second half, lost the whole third quarter. Huge minutes he lost. Still salvaged. Should have had a much better day if it wasn't for random foul trouble. Like I said, every slate, if there's someone shooting 10% from the field, if there's someone getting injured, if there's someone getting in random foul trouble, you better have them. You don't even have to ask me on Twitter, because people are asking me about, like on the late slate, about like Monte Morris and Will Barton. Yo, you bet. 0 of 10 shooting to start in the first half without Jokic? Of course, in my late slate lineup. Of course. Cam Johnson injured? You know the answer. You know the answer. Mike Malone, are we serious with this rotation? He played all the main guys, basically just played everyone like 25 minutes. Bench guys basically played the same amount as the starters. We got like mid-20s minutes from Gordon, Barton, and Morris without Nikola Jokic. Those Denver secondary plays were phenomenal GPP plays. We didn't have the confirmation on Jokic, and if you left room for those Denver guys, it was a great risk. And you got burned, number one, because they couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, and number two, because Mike Malone is a loser and just runs everyone 25 minutes. Boogie Cousins, again, I left a spot for him once we got the Jokic news, or once, I was playing for Jokic to be out. We got the confirmation a couple minutes before it was the 7 o'clock game's locked. And yeah, he was an absolute must. No surprise. It was a very, very clear play once Jokic got ruled out. Okay. Let's see. What else was there? Again, the Cam Johnson injury. We went over Mike Malone minutes. I feel like there's more that I'm missing. One bright spot was I was really high in Darius Garland tonight, and he went for 65 fantasy points. So that was one that worked out really, really well, even though I didn't play him. But that worked out in a big way. But yeah, it's just like, it's comical, right? I'm actually, like, I try, like, again, you can only laugh, but like, I'm actually starting to go crazy because any sort of bad luck on the slate, it's in my lineup. Winning lineup and high stakes. Garland, who went for, again, almost 70 at 7% ownership. Malik Beasley was a good value play. Giannis, smash, and he was the spend up at like the best. Boogie, obviously a smash. Malachi Flynn smashed. Cam Johnson and Cole Anthony. Let's go to the bottom. With some other ownership. Ayton's right now, massive bust. Again, Scotty Barnes shot 3 of 15. 53% Scotty Barnes for people that played $3,000 or more. Mo Bamba, 40%, massive chalk. Gary Trent. And I've told you too, right? I like this year when Gary Trent's been massive chalk, like just like a few weeks ago, I would always fade him. And every single time that I faded Gary Trent, he shot like 75% from the field. Now this is what he's doing to repay me. I'm buying into him, 10% shooting from the field. Yeah, just some crazy stuff. Again, Gordon, 25, like Barton, 40%. Barton was a very, very sharp play today. And he got burned if he played him. Gordon, very sharp play. Like I said, Gordon, Morris, Barton were all phenomenal tournament plays. And you get burned because Mike Malone, number one, awful shooting. Number two, Mike Malone just plays everyone 25 minutes. Like, I'm going crazy, guys. I'm actually going crazy. But 5-game slate, can I just get a slate where there's no blowouts, injuries, 2 of 50 shooting? Can I just please get a slate like that? Please? All right, enough of that, guys. 5 games. But yeah, I am actually starting to go crazy. But San Antonio, Charlotte. So let's see. Do we have any Vegas odds out? This one is out. So 241.5 over under. No real surprise. 2 teams play fast. 2 teams play no defense. So a very appealing game here. Hornets 3.5-point favorites. And the only other game out is Golden State and the Lakers. 224.5 over under. Lakers, or Warriors, I should say, are 5.5-point favorites. 2 teams that have really, really been struggling. So on the San Antonio side, we have Vassell and Lonnie Walker both questionable. That's pretty significant. These have been big members of the rotation. We've been seeing like low 30s minutes from Vassell. Lonnie Walker has played extremely well off the bench. He's been playing like close to 30 minutes. So if those 2 guys are out, definitely going to open up some potential value here for the Spurs. I'm not sure exactly what Popovich is going to do, but definitely, will open up some potential value plays there. First at the top, we have DeJounte Murray, a guy you're going to feel pretty good about. Great matchup. He's going to play 35-plus minutes. He's going to do everything for the team. So even at 10.8K, I think he's firmly in play in both formats. Jakob Poeltl is a little bit pricey, but he's also going to play low 30s minutes, and this is a great, great spot. Love targeting bigs against the Hornets. So the top 2 guys look good. Keldon Johnson was awful last game. He did only play 16 minutes. Not super worried about it. Would assume he goes back to his like low 30s minutes, which makes him a solid option there in the mid-range. Vassell and Lonnie Walker, if they both play, I think they're decent options at their respective price points. Now, if they miss, it's tricky because there's no like direct beneficiary. So like maybe you see a little bit extra run for a guy like Doug McDermott. Score independent, but he's very, very cheap. Definitely in play. We probably get some minutes for like maybe Trey Jones most likely sees, a little increase in minutes. Langford, Josh Richardson, these guys probably get some minutes. Like Primo, I would think gets a minutes bump. I would say, like, of that grouping that I just mentioned, probably Primo would be my favorite if Walker and Vassell are both out. So I would say against Primo, that's probably the guy I look to off the bench there. Zach Collins will play the backup 5 and play like around 15 minutes. Again, it's fine in a large field tournament, but really doesn't have like insane upside unless you get Jakob Poeltl foul trouble. On the Charlotte side, so I'm pretty high on LaMelo Ball. Gotten massive foul trouble last game. Only played 8 minutes. Not worried about it. It was just because of foul trouble. 8.5K price is pretty cheap, and it's a good matchup. So I'm pretty high on LaMelo Ball. Rozier, Bridges, obviously these guys had solid games last game with LaMelo Ball being in massive foul trouble. But I think LaMelo is my favorite of the bunch. Rozier, Bridges definitely play as well in a great matchup. The other Hornets, Kelly Oubre is 5.7K. More of just a neutral play. I'm fine if he landed. I'm not going to prioritize Oubre, though. This grouping of the bigs like Harrell, Washington, and Plumlee are all fine, but like the minutes are, not secure for any of those guys. Like probably one of those bigs has a good game, but good luck trying to figure out who it's going to be. Martin will play some minutes off the bench, but he's been pretty bad. So yeah, and we did see some Isaiah Thomas run as well at the flat min price. He was good in 24 minutes, but that LaMelo is massive foul trouble. So I'm not even sure if he plays in this game if LaMelo doesn't get in foul trouble. Philadelphia, Miami. So don't believe the stats are updated yet from the game. Oh, they just updated. So both Embiid and Harden were kind of letdowns last game. Again, it was a tough spot, and they were a little bit pricey. And once again, tough spot, and they're a little bit pricey. So it's basically my same analysis of Embiid and Harden can still get you there. But there are definitely more contrarian plays, and there's not much else. Tobias is really taking a back seat. I don't want to pay 6-7 for Maxey. And the value, there's just nothing here. So nothing really else on the Philadelphia side I like. Moving on to Miami, so there's just too many question marks right now. We have Jimmy questionable, Martin questionable, Struss questionable, Tucker questionable. I think Martin and Struss both play because they played last game. I would say Tucker and Jimmy are both more up in the air. So really hard to say. Let's just say Jimmy and Tucker are both out again. Then there's a lot to like here for Miami. I think Bam Adebayo at 8.9K looks decent if he can stay out of foul trouble. I think Tyler Hero at 7K. That was one thing I was extremely tilted last slate, but I finally got Tyler Hero right. It didn't even matter, right, because the other things that occurred previous slate. But, yeah, I think Hero's going to look pretty good. Gabe Vincent, I guess, only smashes with Jimmy Butler out. He's at 5K. So I think he's still fine, but probably going to be a little bit easier to get to the likes of like Struss and Martin since they're a little bit cheaper. Martin played extremely well last game in 37 minutes. Struss started and played big minutes. He played 36 minutes. Duncan Robinson, we know he has a ceiling, but also a low floor if he doesn't hit his shots. He only shot 3 times last game, which is a pretty big surprise. But, yeah, those are all guys that are going to look pretty good if Tucker and Jimmy Butler are out. Now, if they're both in, then I don't know if I get to any of the Miami value plays. And I would say that overall, I don't know if there's anyone in Miami that would stand out if both Jimmy and Tucker play. Orlando and Memphis. So got to keep an eye on the Carter Jr. news. That's huge, huge news. Also, Markelle Fultz, I'm expecting him to play. He was out for left knee injury management. So I'm assuming he plays in this game just because it was a back-to-back. So with that being said, like Cole Anthony and Suggs both had good games today. They both played a lot more, but we do now have Markelle Fultz most likely going to be back in this game. So we probably go back to like 30-ish minutes from Anthony and Suggs. It's a good matchup, so I still think they're in play. But they would look a lot better if like Markelle Fultz was not available. And I do think Fultz will be back for this game. Franz Wagner, 5'9", more of a neutral play. Now, Bamba and Okeke are going to get the big bump if Carter Jr. is out. Bamba, if he stays out of foul trouble, is probably playing over 30 minutes. And Okeke probably plays around 30 minutes as well. So those two get the big bump if Carter Jr. is out. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one. And then like value, probably going to stay away from like Hampton and Harris with Markelle Fultz most likely back. On the Memphis side, so John Morant, again, he did not shoot the best last game and stolen for 54 fantasy points. Like I said, he's just on another one right now. Crazy. For the last 5 games, 44, 46, 52, and 38 real-life points. Crazy, crazy hot streak right now for John. It's a great matchup. I think the only thing you have to worry about here is potential blowout. Adams at 6'2" is fine, does have some upside. Triple J, I like for tournaments if he can stay out of foul trouble. We know he's a guy that does have a pretty high ceiling. Bane been struggling of late, but did have a solid game last game for 30 fantasy points. I think he's a decent option in the mid-range. Melton feels a little bit pricey. Slow-mo's questionable. If he misses, then maybe get some extra run for like Zaire Williams and Conchar, but I don't know if I would really want to go to either of them. Moving on to Portland and Minnesota. So Portland, I mean, this is just a mess. They have so many guys out. Now they're resting Josh Hart. I mean, completely tanking, trying to miss the playoffs here. I mean, it's that Will Smith gif of just him in the empty house, right, looking around. Like, that's Anthony Simons right now. It's like him and a bunch of scrubs, basically. So if Portland wants any chance of winning this game, it's got to be a huge game from Simons. He's been struggling the last 3 games because the last 3 games they've gotten massively blown out, right? So, like, in a competitive game, he's going to play huge minutes. So, again, I don't mind going in for tournaments, but there's massive blowout risk. And we got to talk about some of this Portland value, but it is disgusting. Like, this is disgusting value that we have to go over. So, at the 5, going to be split between Eubanks and Watford. Eubanks is 4.6K, only center eligible. It's probably going to be a pretty even split more often than not. Watford played a lot more last game, but it was a massive blowout. Watford also has power forward eligibility, which is nice. But again, those two should split the sentiments, both fine options. CJ Ellaby 4-1, not the best point per minute guy, but he's going to have to play all the minutes he can handle. I think he's fair value play, does have shooting guard, small forward eligibility, which is nice. Greg Brown at 3.9, good point per minute guy, probably sees around 20 minutes. Fine value. Brandon Williams will play the backup point guard. Not as high in him. I think I'd rather go to other. He's going to be relatively productive when he's on the court. I guess if you think this game turns into a massive blowout, you can go there. He did exit the game early in that last one, so I actually think he's okay, especially if you think the game blows out, he's going to look a little bit better. And then, like, the starting lineup, I mean, this is going to be so gross. It's going to be Simons, Ellaby, Eubanks, Elijah Hughes, and maybe like Keon Johnson or Ben McLemore. I mean, it is so gross. Ben McLemore at 3.3. I mean, the minutes have not been great on him, but he does have a ceiling if he can hit his shots. If he starts, I'd feel better about him. If he comes to the bench, it's going to be hard to go there. Keon Johnson, Elijah Hughes have been god-awful. Just awful. 26 minutes, 14 fantasy points. 20 minutes, 3 fantasy points for Keon Johnson. How about Elijah Hughes? 23 minutes, 3 fantasy points. So, like, these guys are just awful. But they're going to have to play big minutes, so they're definitely in play. And Kelvin Belvins will probably be in the rotation. But, like, man, it is. I'm trying to think how many active players we're going to have. So, Simons is 1, Eubanks is 2, Watford is 3, Ellaby is 4, Greg Brown is 5, Williams is 6, McLemore 7, Keon Johnson 8, Hughes 9. Belvins. I guess they will have 10 bodies, but, like, it is so gross. On the Minnesota side, if Anthony Edwards is still out, I believe he's going to be out for... It was a game-time decision, so maybe he has a chance to play in this one. But yeah, Cat, D'Lo obviously get a little bit of usage bump here. Great matchup, but there's massive blowout risk. So those two look good, but you had to factor in the blowout. Pat Beverly, same thing. He probably plays 25 to 30 minutes if the game stays competitive. McDaniels, if he can stay out of foul trouble, most likely plays over 30 minutes in a competitive game. Again, though, you got to factor in the blowout risk. Malik Beasley, I think, once again, looks solid at 3-2. He'll most likely come off the bench and play low 20s minutes. So, yeah, I mean, there's a decent amount to like here for Minnesota. There's a massive blowout risk. So, like, if you want to play for the blowout, I think you can look to maybe a guy like Naz Reid, who's a really good point per minute guy. And if he gets extended run, he can win you a tournament. So, like, you can definitely play for that blowout and target some of these more end-of-the-bench guys like a Naz Reid. And finally, Golden State and Lakers. Again, 2 teams that have really been struggling. On the Golden State side, play the tape. You know what I'm going to say about Steph Curry. Play Thompson at 6.5K. Good matchup. If the game can stay competitive, should play around 30 minutes. I think he's in play, but struggling a little bit from the field. Wiggins feels priced about right. We do have no Gary Payton, but most likely what Steve Kerr will do, will probably start Moses Moody because Steve Kerr is the absolute woat. If for some reason they do start Jordan Poole, I think he's going to look really good here at 4.8K. Even if he comes to the bench, I think he's in play for tournaments. Looney, I think, is a solid option, but I'm a little bit worried because the Lakers have been going small and not really been wanting to play Dwight. So, like, the Warriors can definitely match that. So, a little bit worried about Looney's minutes. Maybe they give more minutes like Kuminga or like Bielitsa as like a small ball 5. Otto Porter Jr. at 3.8K, I could see him getting a little bit more run if both teams go small. So I think he's intriguing for tournaments. there's just Golden State plays so many guys. So it's like it's hard to feel good about a lot of these bench guys. Like, if Moses Moody starts, sure, you can play him. He's not going to be super productive, but he's really, really cheap. And finally, the Lakers. So LeBron James, I think, is more of a contrarian option right now. I mean, he's going to play huge minutes, but it just feels a little bit overpriced. Westbrook is still, like I said, if he was 6K, I still don't think I would play him. So he's way too overpriced for me. Carmelo at 5-1. In a competitive game, I would think he stays around 30 minutes, which makes him a decent option there. Malik Monk's been starting. If he continues to start, I think he's probably my favorite option of the Lakers. So, yeah, I do like Malik Monk a decent amount. Town Horton Tucker, again, I played him the SHOWDOWNS slate last slate. He was in, and then, like, after a quarter and a half, we get news he's in street clothes. So it's like, how do we not get that news, right? That is literally, like, how does that not happen? But, yeah, so if THT plays, I think he's going to play big minutes. Won't be a solid value. If he misses, you're probably going to see the absolute dust if DJ Augustine gets some minutes. I guess in a large field tournament, you can consider him. Dwight Howard, like I said, I'm worried about his minutes. If he starts, you can play him, but there's still no guarantee in his minutes. So, yeah, that's really it for the Lakers. I mean, Austin Reeves will play minutes. Again, I play him 2 fancy points in 21 minutes. Next game, 13 and 17 minutes, 19 and 26 minutes, right? It just... all right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap it up for the video. So, again, like I said, let's pray for no bad luck. Just one time. One slate, that's all I asked for. But, yeah, if you guys do enjoy, just make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I hope you guys had better luck than me tonight. Good luck, and I will see everyone in the next video.